Hello, hello, Michelle. Welcome to the BTN WebCon.
How exciting! I am first cab off the rank and I am just so excited. And congratulations on putting such an awesome event together. I'm so proud to be a part of it.
Thanks. It looks like you are coming from the future, right? The new cover.
Well, I am. I'm in Sydney, Australia, so I'm probably, a few hours ahead of you. It's been a great day, so hang in there.
Cool, cool. Love that. Guys, just a short introduction. I'm sure Michelle will tell you more about her, but one thing that I can tell you is just by following her and communicating constantly, day to day on LinkedIn, she's somebody who has a background in sales. And it's kind of interesting background because with that sales background, she became somebody who is the biggest evangelist of the LinkedIn pages on branding on LinkedIn and all those other stuff. It means that, just a confirmation that you always need to have both sides. To be great in sales, you need to cover the rest of it before it happens. So I won't take much longer of your time, Michelle. I'm going to just go to the background. Uh, Tell the people what you have to say. I'll be here to check out the comments, the questions, and I'll get back on the stream when you finish to see, if there are questions, what can we answer, and all those things.
All right, sounds like a plan. And yes, I am the B2B salesperson that can talk marketing. So that makes me a smarketer, I think, for people out there. So, as Nemanja said, I am best known for my love of LinkedIn company pages. So that makes me one part genius and one part crazy. So today I'm going to bring the genius and share with you why I think everybody needs to pay attention to their LinkedIn company page if they want to grow their business in 2023. Now, 2023 is going to be a challenging year. So, for me, we've got to try and take every little advantage that we can get. So, from here, I'm just going to bring up my slides. And if you can bring them up on screen, Nemanja, if we can do it that way. If not, I'll do it the other way. Here we go. Perfect. Thank you so much. So, as I say here in my first slide, I actually think that company pages have been given such a bad rap in the last, 20 years that LinkedIn's been around. So, LinkedIn didn't do a great job. They haven't given us a lot of features, but that's changed within the last couple of years. So, I'm going to jump into this and I'm going to teach you what I know and what you should know about growing your business. Now, first of all, when it comes to B2B, we know that LinkedIn's the number one B2B platform for marketers. But when we talk about company pages, yes, you need one to be able to run paid strategies. But quite often, the first thing that people say to me is, Michelle, why would we bother? We don't get as much reach as what we do on our personal profiles. Now, I don't actually have an argument for that. You're absolutely right. We do not have as much reach on a company page. But does that mean that we should ignore them? No, it doesn't. It just means that we've got to use them differently. So it's like, this picture says you've got to have the right tool for the right job. Now, there are things that company pages do that your personal profile can't, and vice versa. Now, I'm somebody that is all about how do you get the best of both worlds? How do you bring everything together? Now, we don't want to cut off half of our tools on LinkedIn. We can't ignore our company page. So, my request for you for the next roughly 30 minutes that I get to speak to you is that I want you to listen with an open mind. I want you to listen from the perspective of what is it that Michelle thinks that I should be paying attention to that will help me get an advantage over my competitors, lead the industry by building an amazing community, and ultimately growing your business. So here's what we're going to go into. So I'm going to give you 7 tips in this half an hour. So it's not very long, and it's going to be a masterclass in the 7 reasons that you need to pay attention. And the first one that we're going to start off with is all about discovery. Now, what do I mean by discovery? Well, this is one thing that people don't actually think about when it comes to company pages. We put our blinkers on and we think LinkedIn company pages aren't found on LinkedIn. But did you ever wonder what actually happens if somebody was to Google your business name? Now, if you've got a phone handy, I don't mind you grabbing it, type in your business name and see where your LinkedIn company page shows up in the results. Now, in most of the experiments that I do with this, it shows up in probably the top half of the page in one or two of the top results. Now, you can see here when I Googled my company page, it shows up roughly in the second position, halfway down the page. Now, that's without paying 2,500 Aussie dollars a month to get first page results. We get to leverage off LinkedIn and we get to piggyback off the fact that they're a trusted platform. So, what I want people to think about is, what do you do when you Google somebody else's business? Here's what I do. The first thing I do is I type in the business name. What's going to happen most often than not is the company page will come up second, the website will come up first. Now, normal people would click on the website, right? We're going to go to that and go and have a look around. Now, I do exactly that. But sometimes I wonder, nobody's going to put anything bad on their website, are they? Let's be real. But if I go and have a look at their company page, it gives me another look and another angle to look into this business. Now, that's something that most people forget to do. They forget to think, what happens if somebody comes across to my company page from Google? Now, this is the second tip that I have for you today. First impressions matter. So imagine that person has clicked on the link from your Google search results. What are they going to get? Are you rolling out the red carpet, or are you actually putting up a sign that basically says, sorry, we're closed? Now, it might not be this obvious. Might actually be that when they come across, or it might be an internal search on LinkedIn, they land on your company page. And if they find something that's half completed, maybe it doesn't have any information, maybe there's no activity, maybe there's not a lot of followers, what do you add those things up to be? For me, it starts to cast a seed of doubt. Is it a real business? Are they really that advanced if they're not even on LinkedIn? Why don't they have enough followers? Why aren't they active? And these are the kinds of questions that people will start to ask. Now, you could have many reasons why you're not active on the platform. You could be active on many other platforms. And quite often I see businesses that are active on Instagram or TikTok or, Twitter, but they forget about their LinkedIn company page. So I want you to think while you're listening to this, maybe it's not that important to you, but what happens if somebody was to come across onto your company page? What if we rolled out the red carpet? What if when they came, they actually found a really dynamic, up to date, premium content, lots of thought leadership, and really valuable and helpful content? Now, that creates such an amazing impression. And that's another thing that you have the opportunity to do where maybe your competitors don't. As a salesperson, I'm always looking for that little competitive advantage. How can you do it? What is the thing that you can do that your competitors won't? Now, for me, I love to roll out the red carpet. Now, that doesn't mean that LinkedIn is going to show it to millions of people. I really wish they would, but it's just not how it works. So, what I want people to understand is, coming up in some of the tips further down the track, is I'm going to give you how I handle the content on the company page, because I know that that's probably the number one thing that happens. Now, it's not only potential customers that are Googling your business name, it's also potential employees. Now, do you want the best of the best to work for your company? Or do you want people that kind of okay? For me, if I was hiring, I want the best of the best. So, how do we do that? We create a company page that creates an impression of how great your workplace is. Now, we do that through content. We can do that through the way we describe things in the about section. Lots of different ways we can do that. But don't forget, this is another advantage of your company page. This is another place that people will come and research your business. So, by having the best employees, you then get a competitive advantage to grow your business. So don't ignore this as an opportunity. And often, as I said, you want to play for the best team, right? We don't want to pay for someone that's not that great. So, from that perspective, roll out the red carpet, potential customers or potential employees, best of the best, create a really great first impression. My third tip that I have here today for you is all about B2B communities. Now, that's a word that Nemanja and I have talked about a lot, and it is going to continue to be, I think, a buzzword of 2023. We're starting to see the word community come into play just as much as what we saw the words personal branding come in, say, 2021. Now, how does a company page fit into this? What has a company page got to do with it? Well, social selling on LinkedIn doesn't just revolve around individuals. Brands and the companies behind them also have to create communities. Now, communities are an amazing opportunity in many different ways. Now, one of those ways is building up market intelligence. Imagine that you have access to a really great community where you can get information and feedback. Now, I'm going to teach you now how I actually create a niche community in the B2B space around the company page. Now, this is how I do it. And this is a 360-degree view of how you should be looking at your company page. Now, quite often, what I find when I start working with businesses, they have blinkers on, that the only people that they should invite to follow the company page are their potential customers, anyone that fits their ideal client profile or their avatar, depending how you describe it. Now, for me, I want to go bigger. Why do I want to go bigger? Well, in this case, I think sometimes bigger is best. Not always, but in this case. Now, I want you to think about a nightclub. And if you think about a nightclub that's got the red rope out the front and a lineup of lots of people, and they're all standing outside waiting to get in to see what's happening because it looks like there's a crowd. We're going to create the same thing around your company page. It is going to be the place that everybody wants to come to in the industry to get information from. Now, how do we do that exactly? Well, of course, we need your employees there, right? I know that there's a lot of kickback from people that say, oh, we only see employees engage with the company page. Well, that's a good start. And for people that don't have their employees engaging, you've got a bit of work to do. And I especially say that to anybody that's listening in today. If you're a CEO or a leadership team member, you have to lead by example. Do not expect your team to do things that you're not willing to do. Of course, we want your customers and end users to come and join us. Now, the more of those that we can get, they could be your past customers, your current customers, or your potential customers. So don't just think about your current ones or your potential ones. Always look back. It's so much easier to grow business from existing clients than what it is to source a new client. So again, bring everyone there. It keeps you in touch with them. It keeps you up to date. It lets them see that you're still active. Now, the other thing that I say to people is have a look around and who's involved in related services. So, who is it that's in your industry that does something similar but not the same? And so, for me, that could be people that might be digital agencies. It could be people like Nemanja, who's on the other side of the world, who does something similar to me, but in a totally different market. And why is this? We want people that are interested in our subject matter. And the fact is, quite often it's our competitors, whether they're local or overseas, that also share our passion. Now, with 900 million plus members on LinkedIn, there is more than enough business to go around. There's nearly 60 million company pages. Again, more than enough for us to go around. I also want you to have a look at inviting industry bodies. Now, they can be key to many, many industries. And having these people on board adds credibility to your business. And it also, sometimes they might actually share things that allows you to find out information before anyone else. For me, it's often a source of knowledge for me when I'm scrolling on LinkedIn. I find out things there before I find it out anywhere else. Because LinkedIn is such a dynamic platform that's changing, minute by minute, day by day. So don't forget to get as broad a perspective coming across to the page. And then, of course, there's many different inputs into business, and I call them suppliers, and that's quite a broad term depending what kind of industry that you come from. But for most types of businesses, there are inputs from other places. Now, I come from a manufacturing background, and I also have worked for wholesale distributors. For us, we were representing overseas companies in the local market. So if you work for a business like this, what's really amazing is we get to actually show people this is what's going on and this is what we're doing to promote your products. Now, I can assure you that there is no manufacturer or wholesaler that is not impressed by seeing LinkedIn activity talking about their products. So, this is another way that not only do you keep your customers happy, you also keep your suppliers happy. And again, it varies between industries, but you get my point. We want to bring as many people as we can together. Now, let's move on to the next tip. One of the things that I want people to do is actually pay attention to the company page setup. Now, if I was you and I was listening to me right now, I would think there is probably nothing more boring and nothing least inspiring on your to do list today. I know everybody's busy, but if you pay attention to this, there's a reward for the effort. And I'll tell you why. When you set up your company page, LinkedIn has told us in many different ways. So, directly from LinkedIn, this isn't from me, this isn't from anybody outside of LinkedIn's research, it's from them direct. You actually get 11 times more clicks if your company page is set up 100% complete. I've read other stats directly from LinkedIn, again, not my stats, that say you get 30% more impressions on average. Like 30%. That's not a number that we can ignore when getting your content seen on your company page is so tricky. So 11 times more clicks, 30% more impressions. It doesn't matter which way you look at it, there's nothing but upside. Now, this is what happens typically when people set up a company page. Somebody somewhere back in the, ages ago, they decided that the company needed a company page. So you follow the prompts and it takes about 15 minutes. You set it up, it's free, and that's the last time that most people look at it. Now, it normally also has just a copy of the about section off your website plonked into the about section on the company page. And realistically, it's not always up to date. I mean, websites are updated, what, every 5 years, every 10 years for the about section. It's not necessarily dynamic. Now, even my business, which I've been in for 3 years, I've changed my about section, I don't know how many times, because my business evolves, the services that I offer evolve, who I want to offer it to evolves. And when you write a really good about section on your company page, you will speak to those things. You are going to speak to what is it that you offer, who is it that you offer it to, and what's your secret sauce? Because let's be clear, there's not too many monopolies, true monopolies out in the world. So, as businesses, it's fiercely competitive because there are so many other businesses doing very similar to what we do. Now, for this, some of you might be saying, well, Michelle, I did the right thing. I put some time and effort, and I think mine's mostly up to date. So, big tick, and that's great. What I want you to have a think about is the LinkedIn factor. Now, what do I mean by the LinkedIn factor? Here's what happens. LinkedIn goes and gives us new features, like the workplace commitments feature, which was, only put out in the last few months. Now, we all know that when LinkedIn rolls something out, they stagger it and they don't come back and actually let us know. By the way, this little section has now been added. You haven't completed it. Now, if you don't go back and complete it, you're going to miss out on some of these upsides that I was just talking to you about. So, from this perspective, go back, have a look, and see if there's anything missing or anything that needs to be updated. Tip number 5. This one's really a very simple tip that I'm going to give to people. If you want to grow your company and you want to grow your company page, then keep it simple. Do not set up multiple product pages or showcase pages away from your company page to try and get clever. Keep it simple. Keep it mostly under the company page, especially if you don't have a lot of staff to deal with it. The more you multiply out, the more you actually dilute things, the more you double up your work, and the more it becomes a problem. So, in essence, if you have a small team, just keep it all under the company page and run it under your content plan. Now, for those of you who have multinational companies or maybe companies that have majorly different brands, it's a different conversation. But again, only if you have the resources to be able to manage the double up or the triple up by creating extra showcase pages. Content plan for pages. This is right up there with Michelle. What kind of content works on a company page? How can I get reach? And people are pulling their hair out, and I totally get it. Some days I do as well. What I want you to start to do is picture your company page as your greatest hits library. Now, if you're as old as me and, coming up to 50, back in the day, we bought CDs called greatest hits. Now, if you're half my age, you probably have Spotify playlists or something similar. And what it is just a selection of the best, right? There's no all killer, no filler is a description that Trevor Young, one of my friends, gave to me, which I'm going to steal. So, what do I mean by that? Use your company page just to put the best of your content. Again, somebody wants the red carpet rolled out when they come onto your company page, give them the best content that you can. As a company, you should actually have access to far more information than an individual alone. So it's time for company pages to start sharing that knowledge. And this is why I call it the greatest hits library. Now, if you're a much smaller business, this works even better. Take the best of your posts on your personal profile that you know have worked, give some time, and then post it over on your company page. And then that way, when someone lands on your company page as a destination, they are going to see your best content, get the best impression of your company, and that is where we're going to start generating leads. Again, the last thing that we want is someone to know and like potentially your salesperson that's out creating their personal brand on LinkedIn, come across to the company page and have it be a letdown. But if they come across and they find the greatest hits library, then you've really increased your chances for that person to convert a lead into a sale. And of course, I'm going to love that. Now, when it comes to getting reach on a company page, this is one of those things that when I talk to people, it's probably something that it doesn't matter how hard I try. We want to have a look at some of the types of ways that we can build up subscribers for company page content. Now, you may be thinking, how do we do this? What is Michelle talking about? What are subscribers to company pages and the content? Well, it's a way that maybe you hadn't thought of, and hopefully, this will help some people out there. So, if you want your content delivered, there's two ways that we can do this. And the two ways are this. Number one, I want you to start a company page newsletter. Now, when you create a newsletter, the very first newsletter that goes out goes to 100% of your company page followers. This means that it's an absolute golden free kick. I don't want you to waste that if you don't have a lot of page followers. So don't start your newsletter until you've got around 1,000 followers. You could get that in 4 or 5 months with the invite credits. It doesn't take long. So think about this, creating a newsletter, make sure that when those subscribers to the newsletter once you create one, they'll receive a notification. Now, some people will also, depending on their settings, receive your LinkedIn newsletter into their inbox off LinkedIn. Now, the LinkedIn inbox is certainly not my idea of fun. Actually, mine is typically most days out of control. But when I receive things outside of there, then it's really cool to see that I actually get these high value newsletters. So don't waste people's time. People aren't averse to receiving long form content. They are when it's rubbish and of no value. As a company, again, you've got access to the, subject matter experts, thought leaders, creatives. Bring that all together to bring something of value. So that's one way. Create a newsletter, put your effort in there, make sure your subscribers will get your subscribers will get notified. The other way that we can do this is we can see here, if you go to a company page, just like on a personal profile, there's a little bell up in the top right-hand corner underneath the banner. Now, that little bell allows you to actually get your whoever rings it, they'll get notified when your company page does a post. Now think about that. If we're not showing in the home feed, we need to find another way. So when people ring the bell, they become subscribers to the content. As soon as you post, they get notified. And then hopefully they'll engage with the post. Now, again, it's another feature that LinkedIn doesn't tell everyone about. So my advice to you is put it as a footer at the bottom of your post and instruct people on how to do it. If you want to build up subscribers for your company page, then what I want you to do is get your members and followers to ring the bell on your company page. And then the way that we get them to do that is to put a footer onto the bottom of your post. I've done the research and it's actually come out that people don't get upset by it. So don't worry if you think that it's a bit weird or you think that you're not, if it's really LinkedIn etiquette. The good news is no one gets upset. They're actually thankful that they won't miss your company page content. So here we go. How do you build a community? There are types of content that you actually have that you can use to build a community around your company page. Now, community is where growth comes from. Community is where you start to build advocates that aren't just your employees, but they're also your customers and potential customers and other industry members. And those two ways are LinkedIn Lives and LinkedIn audio events. You get that consultation one-on-one, backwards and forwards, where people can start to have those dialogues with you and your team. And so I personally have found when you do LinkedIn audios, if you have a consistently timed event, you can almost build it up like a TV show where people know to expect it and they'll come looking for it. And so think about, how can you make it entertaining? How can you make it fun? How can you be creative? Do all of these kinds of things and you'll have people turn up regularly. So LinkedIn audio, brand new, reasonably on company pages, has only been rolling out this year. So it's hot off the press. You may not even have it just yet, but keep an eye out because I've found it's a really great way to have, like I said, access to market intelligence, get to learn from your customers or those users of your products exactly what they think about your products in real time. You can show people how to use it, depending if you're in the tech space or the SaaS space. You can actually have these these demonstrations. The other thing that I want people to think about is when you're building communities, it's time to actually bring some B2B thought leadership. And that comes in long form. And it can be articles. As I said, I'd prefer to do newsletters because you get subscribers. But on this particular piece, what I want people to think about is long form thought leadership. Now, the LinkedIn Edelman report that looked into the B2B buyer just came out in September 2022. Essentially, in the year of a financial doom and gloom like we happen to be having now, is they did a lot of research and they looked and said, okay, B2B buyers, what would influence your buying decision? Assuming that there's less buyers, less opportunities because people are cutting back spending, the one thing consistently that they said would increase your chances was B2B thought leadership. Show how your product or service will save them money. will help them grow market share, will make them give them information to make a really, justify their purchasing decision. Again, back to quality again. We want to make sure that what we're giving people is the best of the best and it's original. There is nothing worse than those blogs that you see when you type in a question into Google and all it will say is the same thing. It doesn't matter whose website you go to. Like that drives me crazy. So don't do that. Be original, be valuable. They're words that I'm going to keep using. Why do I talk about events and newsletters so much? And I don't know if you've seen the LinkedIn Discover feed. It hasn't even been rolled out. These are just some screenshots that I've seen. I don't know that many people that actually have it already. But you can actually see here when we get the new Discover feed, look at what they're promoting. Events, videos, which is where your LinkedIn Lives go, and newsletters. So I'm just telling you to do what LinkedIn's going to help you promote, help you distribute, and help you see your content get seen by more people. I'm excited for when this comes out because let's be clear, that home feed is so crowded right now, and that's not where you're going to grow your business. So having something like this come through will be amazing. This is the most important tip that I can give to people. This is the bonus. This is the one that I think if you could write it on a Post-it note and stick it at your computer, if you're a company page admin, whether you're the business owner that's doing it for yourself or the marketer that's in charge of the company page, this tip is the one that you really need. And this is it. Just keep going, right? I get that company pages are really tricky to keep the momentum up. But what happens is in the beginning, it's really, really, really hard. And you'll be wondering, is anybody out there? Is anybody listening? And this is what happens too often. People come to me and they've given up. And they were so close. They're that literally that 3 feet from gold, as Napoleon Hill's story goes. And the last thing that you want to do is be that close to having built your community, having built those relationships, having, started down that journey. Do not give up. A company page goes as long as what your business does. And so from that perspective, I just want to encourage people, if you ever want to know the type of content that will get the most reach, hands down, every single time without fail, I'll tell you now, just grab a phone, take a photo of any person in your business that is an employee's face. Show us behind the scenes. Show us how your business, brings the product I buy to life or the service to life. I want to see names behind email addresses. I want to see people in the warehouse. I want to see the birthday celebrations in the office. It's all about humanizing your company page content. When we humanize it, when we personalize it, and we make it valuable to the audience and the B2B buyer, that's where business growth comes. And, I hope that I've inspired some people to take a fresh look at their company page. And again, if I can ever help anyone to try and squeeze more out of it, I would love to have that conversation. But that's me done for today. I don't know if there's any questions that have come through that I can help answer. But yeah, it's just been brilliant to be able to have the opportunity to talk to you guys.
Yep. Oh, okay. I'm here. We're going to send the presentation to the people so they can actually
Absolutely.
scan the code and everything else. I advise everybody, and they know it in the emails, follow the speakers, follow Michelle, engage with her on LinkedIn, check out what she's doing, and don't be just a lurker, but be somebody who's engaging. Okay, so we have 2 good questions, I think. So let's go through them. Deborah asks, how do you motivate employees to engage in a company page post without it being forced and cringy?
Yeah, I love that question. Thank you so much for asking it. Here's how you do it really easily. There has to be something in it for the employees. Now, people, when I say that, immediately think that it's going to cost a lot of money, and that's not actually it. Your company page should be used to promote your employees. Now, before we get to that stage, we go and have a conversation with the employees, ask for volunteers, ask for people's help, and find out what they want to achieve. And you will be surprised that by investing in them,
Okay, seems like the internet is making fun with us again. I'm sure Michelle will be back in a few. But that's just how it goes. Welcome to the live stream lives of the events. Usually how it goes. But worry not, we have time. We'll answer all the questions. Uh, Seems like Michelle is joining us in a few. We have one more question that we're gonna answer, and both questions are great actually. You're back, except the audio, I think. Yeah, Zineb said this is the proof that it is live.
I'm back. I'm back.
Yeah, yeah, you're back.
It is really live. The show must go on. But to answer the question, make sure that you have a conversation with the employees, find out what's in it for them, what they'd like to achieve. And again, back to it. If you're a CEO or in the leadership team, if you're not leading by example, do not ask your employees to support the company page. It is never going to happen. And all that will happen is the team that's trying to make it happen will feel like they're dragging everybody. And it will be because people are copying your behavior. So, two ways: get the CEO and leadership team to lead by example, and also find out how you can use the page to promote somebody else and help them achieve their career goals.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, basically, what I seen regarding in general LinkedIn, not only the pages, like the leader being included or not. I mean, hands dirty, not just overviewing everything. It's what makes or break the whole strategy.
They'll also, if they're involved, they'll give the right resources and they'll make sure that time's set aside and also that there are KPIs in place. Too many businesses that I know don't actually have KPIs, and what gets measured gets done. And so if I've got a choice, say I'm a salesperson, I've got a KPI that says sell this much and I get my bonus measured, paid on that. And then somebody else wants me to play on LinkedIn and help promote, but I don't get any rewards for that. Which one am I going to pick on a busy day? And let's be clear, everybody's busy. So make sure that the KPIs measure that in and that there's rewards. An acknowledgement goes a long way. A thank you goes such a long way when it comes to this stuff.
Exactly. One more question. I think it's also a good one. Maria asked, is it essential to move into dialogue with the niche and potential clients, or can it be enough that most clients want to maintain just branding and visibility?
Look, I think it's both. I've got customers that never want to be involved in anything. Like, I manage a couple of company pages and they don't want their staff involved. They don't want to do anything. It's just post and keep a presence. I've got people at the other end who are out building B2B communities. I think you have to meet people where the business is at. And ultimately, it's a sliding scale that I think if you just get better over time, that's the goal of anything that we do. So, company pages now, what I love is that it's easy to comment as a company page in the feed, and we're getting notified when someone responds. So, you can start to have conversations. Now, what I love is those people that are scared to post over in the home feed under their personal profiles quite often are really happy to support the company page because it hides behind that logo. And so it offers some level of comfort. So, with everything, meet people where they're at, start somewhere, and just be okay with the fact that maybe it's not perfect. Maybe you're not doing everything that the LinkedIn experts like myself say, tick, 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 do all of these things. But I would say just make sure you're getting better. So I'm a big fan of that 1% better every day philosophy. Just do something 1% better. And after a year, like the difference between that and not doing anything and not getting better is just light years away. So yeah, is it okay that you're not in conversations? It's better than being invisible, right? So take what you can get, work with what you have, and just have a game plan to get better over time. And sometimes time is what builds confidence and trust, and that people get to see that things are okay. And, in my experience, a little bit of training goes a long way.
Indeed. Thanks for the great session. Thanks for the insights. Aska said she is actually inspired to push her clients to use LinkedIn more. More people said they were this was incredible listening to you, and they're thanking you for sharing. I'm also thanking you for being here, for sharing your insights, knowledge, some of the things that I didn't even see, like discovery feed screenshots and all those things. So Michelle, thanks for being here. Happy to have you around inside the community and everything else.
Look, I appreciate you, and thank you everyone that stayed patient while the tech issues got sorted. It's definitely on my end. I just blame I'm in Australia. Maybe the kangaroos weren't going fast enough or something. So thank you all. It's been my pleasure. And I'm going to go into the audience and listen to the next round of speakers because the lineup is just, killer. So looking forward to it.
Sounds good. I hope you understand some of those that are in Serbian as well.
Yeah, I've got to brush up on a bit of that.
All good.
Zineb's on later.
Thanks.
I'll be listening to hers for sure.
Yeah, she's in the audience now. So also one of those that says that the session was incredible.
Awesome. Too much fun. It's been fabulous. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Bye bye.